In class, we learned some fairly basic techniques for handling the destruction of objects. However, these methods have some fairly obvious shortcomings. In this tutorial, we're going to handle 3 of them. When we have an object with a death animation, and we increment the score when the object dies, it currently increments the score after the death animation completes. This is fairly obvious and unsatisfying. We also learned how to replace an object with another when it gets destroyed. However, if one of these objects isn't destroyed by the time the scene gets unloaded, we encounter an error. Lastly, we'll handle these projectiles. Note that their particle trails pop out of existence alongside the projectile itself. First, let's take care of the special handling that the death animation requires. We'll create a script and name it killable in order to distinguish it from destroy. Like its namesake, we'll give it a public method kill with an optional delay. In order to take care of the delay immediately, we'll use a helper method _kill. While we took care of the delay before we actually start killing the object, our death animation will take some time. In order to get that time from whatever component is introducing the delay, we'll use an additional helper method to get the kill time. This will return 0 by default in order to match destroy. Let's add that into our _kill method. In order to avoid special handling from other objects, we'll add a static version of the kill method. If the object contains a killable, we will call kill and pass the delay through. If not, we'll simply call destroy. Lastly, we should replace all mentions of destroy with killable.kill. Now we're ready to handle the death animation itself. We're going to create a new killable that we're calling death animation. In order to play the animation, it needs the animator. So let's get that in the awake method. Next, let's implement getKillTime. First, we're going to need to set the trigger for the destroy animation, and then we're going to return 1, because that's longer than our animation. This allows me to remove the special handling function that I made for the death animation. However, we haven't done anything about incrementing the score on destroy. Instead, we want to invoke this method as soon as _kill is called. To do so, we're going to create a new interface called killResponse. It's going to have only one public method, onKill. We want to invoke the onKill method for all kill responses in the game object as soon as we call _kill. Now, our incrementScoreOnDestroy class can instead use onKill by implementing the killResponse interface. Running it now, we can see that the score is incremented as soon as the death animation starts instead of after it ends. However, we have a bug. We can increment the score multiple times if we kill the object again before it fully destructs. To remedy this, let's add a check in _kill to see if we're already waiting to destroy the object. If we are, we should simply return, without triggering any of the kill responses. With this, we can no longer double increment the score. Now let's talk about that crate. Notice this error. It looks like Unity isn't very happy that we're instantiating objects in the onDestroy method. Luckily, we now have a simple fix for that. We can simply change our replaceOnDestroy component to use onKill instead of onDestroy. And with that, we no longer get the error. Finally, let's take a look at those projectiles. Currently, when the projectile is destroyed, its particle trail pops out of existence right along with it. Let's fix that. Let's call this new script Preserve Particle Trails. This new script can be a kill response because it doesn't need to delay the destruction of the projectile itself. We need to loop through all of the particle systems in the projectile. First, we need to move them out of the projectile so they don't get destroyed right alongside it. Here, we'll just set their parent to the projectile's parent. Next, we need to make sure that the particle system actually gets destroyed after it's done. To do that, we are first going to get the main part of the particle system. Then, we're going to set its stop action to destroy. Lastly, we need to tell that particle system to stop emitting particles. To do that, we can simply call its stop function. This mono behavior requires a killable to be present in order to function properly. Lucky for us, Unity actually provides us a way to enforce this. Above the class, add require component with type of killable. Now, if we drag preserve particle trails into a game object, Unity will create a killable if it isn't present already. Now, our projectiles despawn gracefully, with the particle trails gradually fading out instead of abruptly disappearing alongside the projectile itself. To recap, we now have a new system that allows us to increment our scores before the death animation is over. If we stop the scene before all destructible objects have been destroyed, we still don't get any errors. And game objects still don't need to care if whatever they're destroying has any of these behaviors or not.